Hey, you're listening to the TTP Field Manual podcast. Welcome back. Or hello if this is your first time. I am the host, Joshy, and my lovely co-host is Jonny. Hello.
Hello, Joshy. How you doing?
Good, mate. I feel like we've already had a little discussion like this in our recording session today.
No, I don't know what you're on about.
No. Yeah, we're cramming content into one sit-down recording session to be spread out over multiple days. But anyway, today's episode is what I like to call data drop. You guys listening to the podcast, guys, gals, and everyone else's love our codex reviews, which makes sense. This is a game that you play and you want to understand the rules and the data sheets and the models and what's good and the comment. I get it. But there hasn't been many codices in a while, Jonny.
There sure hasn't.
But there's been some supplements though. We must be at the end of an edition.
We must be, right? There's some exciting stuff to come though.
So data drop, yeah. Data drop is this sort of catch-all term for the kind of the new stuff that's been coming out as rules. We've had Red Corsairs, Aeldari Corsairs. We've had a couple of Xenos leaders, funnily enough, and we've gotten a few detachments. Today is going to be all mostly around the Maelstrom stuff. Another episode probably be the Eye of Terror stuff, and yet another episode, if we get to it, probably be the Armageddon Yarrick stuff.
Which, obviously, we've done some Armageddon stuff in the past where we're reading books about Armageddon, where Armageddon's the big thing, right?
We used to joke, Jonny, Armageddon out of here. It's not very far to run. It just keeps coming back at you. Can't get away enough.
That's it.
There was even Crusade Armageddon, where Grey Knights are on the cover, funnily enough, against demons. We didn't end up covering that, but that also happened recently. There's just so much Armageddon.
They just love their Armageddon, right?
And in a couple of these episodes' time, we'll be loving Armageddon all over again. But today is Maelstrom, and this is the sort of opposite side of the coin for an episode that came out very recently, where we talked. Well, I'd talked a lot. You listened a lot.
Hey, someone's got to do the listening around here, right?
It's good. It's like story time. We're sitting around the campfire. I'm the village shaman or what have you, telling all the oral histories of the history of the culture, which is apparently Warhammer. That's our culture. We did a bunch of Maelstrom lore stuff recently. This is going to be pretty much all gameplay, though. And this is where you like to thrive in your thought processes. Hey, Jonny.
Do like to play the game.
You sure do like to play the game. Shall we just dive right into your favorite neck of the woods and go into Red Corsair data sheets? This will be like data sheets. Then after we talk a lot about data sheets, we'll talk about some detachments towards the back half of the episode. But do you want to start with some Red Corsairs, Jonny?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about the Red Corsair stuff.
All right. Small little drop of chaos stuff. A little miniature supplement that I would have expected would have keyworded more so around the whole Red Corsair stuff, but they're just Chaos Marines, aren't they? There's no real lockout when it comes to chucking in Red Corsairs to a CSM force.
No, and that's very CSM. We're just a hodgepodge group of whoever's around, you know?
Hodgepodge of evil.
Hey, I wouldn't call us evil. That's not the correct word. Free-spirited is a better one.
Corrupted? Oh, I went a different way. Interesting enough to me. There's only 5 Chaos Undivided Epic heroes.
Yep.
Huron Blackheart is one of them, though, and he came in a lovely little box with his friends, the Masters of the Maelstrom. After our lore episode, though, are they really Masters of the Maelstrom, or are they just a bunch of jackasses who've agreed to not kill each other?
You're definitely on point with the second one.
But you buy a box of, Huron and the Masters of the Maelstrom, but there are 2 data sheets similar to Captain Titus and his besties of Ultramar. Huron Blackheart, Jonny, what do you have to say about old mate?
Old mate Huron. A face only a mother could love.
Yeah, Dread Pirate, Cyborg, Chaos Lord, lots of terrifying melee weaponry, very imposing. Once a good guy, then became a bad guy.
I don't know. I don't know about the good guy thing, you know?
We talked about it recently.
A loyal guy who was like, you think I'm a heretic?
An Imperial, yeah.
I'll show you what a heretic looks like.
You've pushed me to commit heinous actions, glass window theory.
These actions are not supported by the Codex Astartes.
They weren't. Or the tax office, it turned out.
Who wants to pay their taxes anyway?
Not me, but Huron Blackheart, he exists.
He exists?
What do you think? What do you think about his role on the tabletop and his rules? What do you think?
Apparently he exists.
Yes.
No, I think his rules are actually very good. Huron is very, very nice. He's doing some very fun stuff. He is seeing a fair bit of tournament play at this point in time. Dude is cracked. Not so much in the role you would have expected him to be in.
How so?
People tend to not run him with the Masters necessarily, but as just like a chosen leader.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what's not to like about a melee weapon that's strength 8, AP 3, 3 damage?
Yeah, screw your elites. Screw your Victrix on a guard.
Yeah, it's super cool to see someone who can just one tap a Victrix. It's beautiful. And he has a 4-up invuln on top of all that, like, and a 5-up feel no pain. Like, this guy is tanky.
He has deep strike. Who else deep strikes?
It's because he can lead the Terminators, so they gave him deep strike so that he can deep strike.
Mm-hmm.
But Terminators for CSM are so expensive points wise that you tend to run him with the Chosen, who are basically the same thing but punchier.
I was quite amazed by his anti-elite presence with a little sprinkling of board control for his unit, and I like your chosen pick because he has his little doggy, the Hamadria, bit of a reactive move, which works well when you can do advance charge if you've got chosen. It's good. It's pretty nice.
See, another thing I've considered with this guy is sticking him with 10 legionaries.
Yeah.
Because no one is ever taking that point off you. Imagine 10 legionaries all at OC3, and you just put 31 OC on an objective and say, that is mine for the rest of the game.
And 10 models, 170 points. The legionaries have a lot of wounds. Yeah, I could see it. I could see it a lot. Would you take legionaries over chosen? Would you think? It
depends on the role you want him to run. Like the chosen is definitely your better choice if you want a big damage blob. Having that extra OC means that if you want to play the objective game, the legionaries are definitely an option at a slightly cheaper price than the chosen. But I think at the end of the day, the Red Corsair Raiders are also a decent option. Although you're probably not running them with him because they want to be able to infiltrate.
Yeah, I didn't think much of the Raiders being led by the Red Corsair leaders, if that's a little ironic. I didn't think, I like this data sheet. I want to put them with Huron or Reeve Captain to get a little bit ahead of the curve, but they do really well on their own still. So yeah, I like your picks for Huron.
Yeah. They're just a couple of weird and wacky things you can do with Huron in terms of like, do I want that really defensive play or do I want that super aggressive play? I think when it comes to leading chosen, he is competing with Fabius Bile, who is very good at leading chosen and costs more than Fabius, which is crazy to me considering how strong Fabius is. But I think there could be a world where you run both. Maybe you do have your 2 blobs of chosen that are running around with these 2 gentlemen, but it's interesting choices.
When you put Fabius Bile on the battle with Huron and Gary on the Corpse Masters in the back going, what about me?
Left him at home.
It isn't fair. I just kill my friends for CP.
Dude likes to...
You just take all the objectives with your OC. I don't know where I was going with that.
I don't know either. I was just leaving you to it.
Yeah, that's Huron. I don't know. Thank you. I appreciate it. Are we doing report cards at all?
I mean, this guy is definitely an A.
Mm-hmm. I gave him an A-. I think he's very tanky, and I think he's very much a contender for taking him in place of some of your other picks, especially generic lords. He is a 30-point increase on generic lords if that is going to make or break a list. I don't know if it really does, but if you want to play him and you want to build up that Red Corsairs, he does, if I'm not mistaken, enable a pretty spicy detachment or 2.
Yes, when we get to talking about his detachment, things will start to look up a little bit. But yeah, Huron is very good. I don't know if he takes the spot of your Chaos Lords, but maybe. The Chaos Lords being able to discount your stratagems is very good, but his model is very cool. I got to give you that much. Very, very cool model.
It is really cool. Do you remember a year or so ago when we were talking about, what could every faction get next? Did we not talk about the likelihood of them doing Huron again?
Yeah, we did. Because his old model was not very nice.
Good stuff. All right.
With the big hand.
It's kind of funny, eh? It's kind of funny.
But it is really good to see some of these characters getting some love in the end of the edition. I'm really enjoying it.
What do you think about the new characters on the block? The Masters of the Maelstrom unit. What do you think about them?
These guys I'm not so hot on.
Really?
The models themselves are very pretty. I really like the models. I think Garyon, the Corpse Master, is one of the most intimidating models that have come out in a while. I'm not a big fan of these like command units where you've got 5 different melee profiles, 5 different range profiles, a whole bunch of weird and wacky abilities that you're not quite sure if they actually work the way they're meant to.
I'm actually pretty hot on the Masters.
Oh, okay.
I think if you look at the numbers of like the ranged weapons and the melee weapons, there are like 3 weapons in each phase category that have just the same profile. Hits on 3s, 411 in ranged, or in melee, hits on 2s, 622. And so unless you are working around like, oh, there's a character in this model and I want to give the axe of ending its precision thing, you can just lump them together, really.
Yeah.
And then it does sort of filter that down, which is good. The big thing for me, and it's not even the like tech about the unit, which there is quite a lot of tech with the CP and the redeploy 3, but that's a lot of wounds. That's a lot of wounds there, Jonny.
It is a lot of wounds, and that's one thing you get.
Combined with the tech.
Yeah, it is one thing you get with these command units.
CP and redeploy 3. And if you're going into a big like Red Corsairs focus force, like the Raiders have infiltration, right?
The Raiders do infiltrate, yes.
You can infiltrate them, and then when the game starts, you can just pull them back.
Yeah.
I like that. I like those little infiltrator gotchas. Be like, oh, you can't infiltrate because I've already infiltrated. Oh, but they're so exposed. Well, not with this redeploy 3.
Now what are you going to do?
Yeah, I like them a lot. I think they aren't as roadblocky, tar pit-esque as Titus's command squad, but I think they are a lot more aggressive for sure.
Yeah, and that's chaos for you. We're the hyper-aggressive with no saves.
With that said, though, you could pull this kit apart for relatively cheap if you wanted to just have Huron, and then you could run Garlon Solida as a generic sorcerer. I guess you could say Garyon's Fabius. You can make Qatar Garrick's Moe if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Suddenly that's a lot of characters you just added for not a whole lot of money, relatively speaking.
Yeah, it's definitely starting to give Exalted Sorcerer's kit vibes, right, at that point?
Oh, yeah. Garlon Solida, custom character, Crucible of Champions. Interesting. Is there anything else you want to say about the Masters?
Not particularly. I personally would give them probably a B or a B+. But as I said, I'm not so hot on them. I definitely see their use, but I don't know. I just feel like there's better things I can do with that 115 points.
Yeah, in an army where you want to be like super aggressive, I completely get it. I really like that kit. I love a good bit of tech, and so I actually gave him a solid A over Huron. Actually, I gave him an A-.
Nice. All right.
But I like to play a little bit more castly and mess up my opponent with shenanigans.
Yeah, you do like your shenanigans.
Raiders. Shall we talk about Raiders now?
Sure. Red Corsair Raiders. These guys are neat. I'm glad they exist, but I don't know. They feel like they're missing something.
I agree.
The problem is their trophy taker ability, I think, is really cool. The whole like, oh, we killed a thing, so now our OC goes up, but they don't kill things very easily.
No. Oh, Huron, that could be OC5.
OC4.
No, sorry, 4. I was looking at the wound characteristic. Ignore me.
They definitely could be OC4, which is pretty silly, but Huron prevents them from infiltrating.
Absolutely.
Which is a downside. I think these guys are neat. I would have liked to have seen them be able to pick up the battle line keyword in some fashion, even if it's just in a detachment. That would have been pretty cool, but I don't know. I feel like if I do run them, I'm running them as an infiltrator unit and probably only paying for 5. I'm not really looking to pay for 10 of these guys unless I want to jail out my opponent real bad.
I have similar thoughts. I think they're a little bit cool compared to the other stuff, not as hot, you know?
Yeah.
I think they have a really good alpha strike threat and like early board control. They have 3 wounds a pop, which is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah.
As you pointed out, they don't really like kill a whole lot, so they'll probably be better suited for like move blocking and hunting your opponent's action monkeys, which is kind of par for the course because the raiders of Red Corsairs are a little bit like egotistical, like individualists striking out ahead. But yeah, they don't really like kill all that well. They're raiders who are scavenging loot from everywhere, but they have generic ass 401 bolters. They get a melter gun, yippee, but you know.
So, what if, and this is a big what if you ran them in the Alpha Legion detachment? You give a Chaos Lord the weird and wacky enhancement that no one ever uses, where he can start off the board and join a unit later.
Right.
And you are able to then infiltrate these guys in, chuck the character on them turn 1, and now he gives them the chance to actually kill something.
Oh.
And you play Trixie Wixie Infiltrator Alpha Legion Red Corsairs.
That's very interesting. Interesting.
Just a line of play I thought about, and I'm like, that could be interesting. That way you can get that OC, and then you can do what they're realistically wanting to do, which is kill something and then sit on an objective.
I'm so glad you know Chaos inside and out, Johnny.
But the real question is, would you pay just over 300 points for that?
No, but I've seen you play Alpha Legion Cultist Jail, and there's definitely some sort of strategy there where you can turn these guys into a bit of a hammer unit, so long as your cultists are letting them go around and do things. But yeah, I think 300 might be a stretch. Depends on the offense a leader could give them, I suppose.
But honestly, like that line of play of being able to infiltrate and then add a Chaos Lord on afterwards at the cost of one of them doesn't seem like a half bad thing, because now your infiltrating unit has access to reduced strategy. They have access to that once per battle Chaos Lord fighting better to proc their stuff. You know, like, I could see it working, but the stars do need to align a little bit. But having access to some cool stratagems, because the stratagems in the Alpha Legion detachment are very tricksy, but then you have access to, like, reactive moves so that they can get around. You have access to uppy downies with this unit, and all of those sort of, like, weird and wacky tech stuff. You've got access to the detonator. You've got fall back and shoot. Like,
oh yeah, the detonator.
Yeah,
hey,
the
John.
detonator.
Your favorite stratagem.
And it could be a really interesting line of play, and I might have to test it now that I've talked about it, because it actually sounds kind of fun.
I do like the Raiders. I like their kit a lot. Their hodgepodge mixture of armor plates and furs and stuff. I do like them a lot.
Oh, the models are sick.
But I didn't really give them too much thought about their strategy, just on a data sheet alone. So I'm glad you pointed out something for them to do in a way that's unexpected. We love those sort of things.
Very Alpha Legion of them.
Yeah. And who knows? The Red Corsairs probably do have Alpha Legion embedded within them too.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit too egotistical to check for that kind of things, I would imagine.
Yes. But I was going to say, if I was going to rate these guys,
oh yeah, go on.
Unfortunately, I would rate them based solely on their sheet and not the one weird and wacky solution to the problem.
Yeah, of course.
And for that reason, I would probably have to give them a C.
Mm.
Like they're not terrible, but they're not something you're going to pick up. And if you are, it's probably only one unit of 5.
I get you. They are the only infiltrators in the Codex, right? Well, the faction.
Yeah.
For that alone, I tipped them into B-.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that they can do that, I should say, not the fact that they're the only ones, but for that sort of tech, I did give them a B-, but you'd have to subject me to a Red Corsair raid for me to put me up higher.
That's it. But yeah, we can now talk about the Reeve Captain, which is, he's your generic lord that is designed to go with these guys. He has the infiltrator keyword as well.
You know, because he's cheaper than a lord, my brain immediately went to CSM Lieutenant.
And you know, he's so close to that just being cheaper. He does an almost similar, it's like similar but worse than an actual Chaos Lord. And I think if you can't quite fit a Chaos Lord in your list, this guy can make the cut. But if you can, I don't think you ever pick this guy if you can afford to put a Lord in.
Which is so sad for how cool he looks.
Very cool model. It's real unfortunate about his kind of lack of, in an army where you either want to be punching before your opponent can kill you, or trying to reinforce your units a little bit so that they don't die as easily and get punching. He doesn't do his job.
Which, again, it's really sad. Reeve Captain is probably one of my favorite models in the whole Chaos range from a infantry perspective.
Oh, wow.
And then I see his rules, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like the fur cloaks and the maul and a tattered cape and the big 8-pointed fake iron halo. I like all of that.
Yeah, and if the Raiders Jew is almost good, but I mean your opponent's either going to see it coming or you need to charge into 2 units or up to 1 or more, but on objectives, like it's a lot of specifics, and then all you're realistically getting is a little bit of strength and AP on him alone.
Yep.
It's just not quite good enough.
I had a similar thought process to you, and also with your thought process of Huron going with Chosen. That's what I thought with these guys. With this guy, I thought I would put him with Chosen because they can do the advance and move, and you could put that pressure somewhere that your opponent might not be expecting because of the bonus move from advance.
Yeah.
And then the Reeve Captain gets to do his thing already, and the Chosen have a rather similar amount of melee output to the Raiders, but like a little better, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm like the Raiders. I'm like, it's like a B minus. It's not a standout pick, but it's fun.
I'm giving this guy a C.
Oh,
I
do err on the side of positives.
I don't see a time you're picking this guy unless you really need it. Like, you just have the leftover points.
That's Red Corsairs, hey?
Yes.
So it's an interesting step in the direction of Renegades. Where am I Alpha Legion? Where is my OG Chaos Legion, Alpha Legion support? It's Black Templars all over again.
It sure is.
You're supporting the fan favorites. Nah, it's good to see. I was not expecting them to actually gain a unit and a generic leader. Really wasn't. Really was not. Yeah. Should we proceed on to some Aeldari Corsairs now, Johnny?
Corsairs? I thought you said we're done with Corsairs. No, let's do it.
Red Corsairs, red versus blue, man.
Let's go talk about some space elves.
Some space elves. So, similar size range. 4 new units. There was already 1. We got Prince Iriel, Karsith, Starfang, Sky Reavers, and you would also chuck the Void Scarred into this little range. I like them. They have a lot of little tricks, but have a similar sort of vibe to the Red Corsairs, where I think the characters are really cool, but the non-epics are a little watered down for my liking, unless you're really committing to the bit and going into their various detachments, which are good. But on the principle of the datasheets, I think Prince Iriel is fantastic. Prince Iriel is essentially a little missile of an individual at 95 points. He's kind of cooked with his Spear of Twilight. His 5 attacks hits on 2, 7, 3, 3. That's pretty nice. And then he leads the unit, gives them sustain hits 1 and adds 1 to the hit roll.
Yeah, this guy is cooked. This is what I wanted out of, like, the Reavers or something like that, Being able to support the other units.
That's not very Red Corsair of them, though, is it?
Apparently.
Supporting each other.
There's no camaraderie in my pirates.
Yeah, Prince Iriel's a bit cracked, and he's really quite cheap when it comes to the epics across Aeldari. The Phoenix Lords have very similar roles here by supporting a couple of units or a specific unit usually and being really good in melee, but they're usually around the 130 mark actually.
Yeah.
And so Prince Iriel, being the price he is, giving a unit sustained hits, of which you really do put him with a max unit of Corsair Void Scarred, the old kill team, because them with sustained hits 1, adding 1 to the hit roll. Furthermore, the Corsair Void Scarred have a piratical headhunter ability. At the start of the battle, you select a unit. Models in that unit then have lethal hits and precision while targeting that unit. You combine that with Prince Iriel's sustained hits and +1 to the hit roll. Suddenly, the whole unit hits on 2s without modifiers, well, without negative modifiers. You have what I like to call a gun for every occasion when it comes to Void Scarred. They do have a bit of kill team loadout bloat where there are lots of options, and that is usually enough to turn some people away from running them because it's just too much sort of like, all right, this one model does Shredder. All right, next one does Shuriken Cannon. That next,
Yep.
But like a full unit of these guys with Prince Iriel. Whew.
Yeah, no, these guys are super cool. I'm a big fan of the pirates that are elves.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Prince Iriel, big smash captain. It's got some board control tech with the redeploy 3. Everyone gets one of those nowadays, you noticed?
Yeah, for sure.
I give him a good fat A. Well, I don't know how fat his A is, but I give him an A.
Oh yeah, this dude is definitely an A. I might even go A plus in the right areas. Like if you're running Corsairs, this guy is pretty sick.
I think in the right circumstances, he's for certain an A plus, and not running him even outside of his detachments. If you are running Void Scarred, bit of a missed opportunity, I would say. Even the Void Scarred, I would give them normally like a B, but then with him, I could chuck them up to the A.
Yeah, for sure.
Most people run the Void Reavers because they're cheaper and do some really nice board tech. I run them in my Aeldari force because Void Scarred are a little expensive for what they do. Oh, look, now they have something to do really well.
Yeah, going from hitting on 3s to hitting on 2s is pretty good, and sustained hits is very nice with all of those assault weapons.
And the way I sort of see the Void Scarred as well as they're adaptable. Gun for every occasion. You can basically split fire everything if you want to sort of maximize the potential of your other units doing things like, the enemy vehicle is left on 2 wounds from the fire dragons. All right, now it's Void Scar time. The Wraith Cannon will shoot into them. Hits on 2, sustain hits, lethals, 14, AP4, D6 plus 1. Oh, look, it's dead.
Yep.
Just from that individual. Or, look, a character over there in the unit's got 2 wounds. Oh, look at that. My Void Scar's got a sniper rifle in it. How dope,
Yeah.
It's some good stuff. Some good stuff.
These are definitely the tricksy pirates, whereas the red Corsairs are definitely the I'm gonna kill you pirates.
Yeah. It's a fun little matchup as well if you were to sort of theory craft specifically the red versus blue Corsairs here.
Is that what you're gonna keep calling them?
Yep, red versus blue. Karsef, our relatively unknown new person on the scene, the sci fantasy naval navigator, as I think of them. Interesting. Not nearly as big of a sell to me as Prince Iriel, but if you are playing around an opponent who is doing a lot of uppy downy stuff, oh boy, Karsef has that 12-inch deep strike screening bubble, which can really yuck the yum of some playstyles. And as well, whilst their kit isn't like super offensive outside of targeting infantry, they do have a psychic ability which is missing from the other core psychers. Psychic abilities throughout the other psychers, like Farseers, allow you to sort of add 1 to the hit roll for units targeting that one. Eldrad has Doom to grant +1 to the wound roll. Now, Karsef has Fury of the Void to add 1 to strength of weapons attacking that unit. So you can do some really interesting big bomber moments where everything's like, all right, so yes, because I'm here, I'm a Void Scarred, I got this I'm hitting on 2s, I've got +1 on my strength, I'm adding 1 to my wound, and I got lethal hits.
Yeah.
All of a sudden your opponent's like, what? But outside of the more uppy downy board control setups, I think Karsef can be left at home.
Yeah, his model is very neat, but I'm not sold on his data sheet.
Yeah, same. Lower B for me.
Yeah, let's go lower B. My biggest gripe is he costs the same amount of points as Uriel.
Yeah, it's very strange to me, eh?
And look at the difference in power level between the 2 data sheets.
Karsef makes everyone else a lot stronger.
I don't know.
That's the saving grace. +1 strength's pretty good.
I don't know. Compared to Uriel. Oh.
Yeah, compared to Uriel. But you could set up, I guess you could sort of think of it in Oath of Moment terms, right? Gilliman allows like a second Oath. So if you have like Uriel being your big hammer and you kill something, great. But maybe Karsef has set up as sort of like a secondary target. Like maybe you want to really soften them up if you've got the opportunity to do so. And so could potentially take out a couple units quite well, especially with the sort of like overcommitment aspect warriors tend to have. They all seem to be really good at killing a particular unit. And so you could maybe just sort of set them up with a Karsef unit to just take the heads. Dark Reapers usually have like, I think a strength 10 missile gun. So they're now strength 11, yippee, for example.
Yeah, I get it. It just feels like a very win more situation.
Yeah, I completely understand that. There are some fringe cases I would consider as well. A lot of the Corsair detachments favor outcasts, which are the Rangers, and the Rangers on bike. To me, a big problem with Rangers is that their precision rifles are 4.12, and if you are suddenly making them 5.12, that's really big for a precision platform. But yeah, lower B. Starfangs, Jonny. Also going to give them maybe like a high C, lower B. I like them a lot. They can finish off some smaller units pretty easily with their 6, I think it was 3/3 profile guns, blast, assault. They move so fast. Sorry, 6/3-2 is the gun. They move so fast that you'll be able to do a lot of sort of actions with them super well. They offer stealth to a very specific unit, which is always a bit like, well, maybe your opponent just doesn't target them now. Oh, my whole ability's gone. But then 75 points, I think this thing just dies to even a modicum of dedicated firepower. So
yeah,
what do you think?
I feel like these could be okay. I actually do like their data sheet, but more as a support slash like turn 3 or 4 threat after you've got rid of their dedicated firepower. Like you hold them back a bit, use them to screen out your units that are trying to shoot, giving your infantry stealth, keep a few guys safe, and then on your go turn, you've got a 14-inch movement and the grenades keyword.
It's pretty good.
You can threaten anything on the board with grenades, and then follow that up with a 3 AP 2 damage shot. Like this thing seems like it could kill elite infantry fairly efficiently. And having assault, so I mean that 14 is the minimum.
Yeah, I agree.
This dude is dashing out from behind walls, shooting the opponent, grenading. Like I think this is a cool little tech piece for like 75 points.
Yeah, if you're playing conservatively, I think it's very much a higher rate. If you're a very aggressive player, you might come up wanting.
Yeah, and if you do need to protect it, that you can always rapid ingress this on like turn 3.
True. Also true.
No, I like them.
Yeah, very nice piece of tech.
Yeah.
Very good. What do we think about Sky Reavers? The flying ones. The flying info.
Let's give them a B.
B?
Yeah. I think they have a place.
I also gave them a B.
Yeah, they have a place.
So not Sky Weavers, that's a Harley Quinn thing. Sky Reavers. How could I get these confused?
So these are your jump pack, slash bird boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really like the look of these models. I've always enjoyed the bird aesthetic of a lot of the Aeldari jump pack units.
They give me like solar punk vibes.
Yeah.
With the very clean aesthetics to their wings.
And then the ability to have like an end of fight move is also very cool. They have Scout 7, so they can get up the board if they do start on the board. Otherwise, they have Deep Strike if they don't. I kind of dig these guys. They seem like they fill the role of like a raptor very well, but better. They're not as punchy. These feel very much like an objective monkey that if they do accidentally get tied up in combat, they can get out.
I like how they shoot very well. They seem to have quite a fun little aggressive tech in their Corsair gun for every occasion. They got blaster, blast pistol, fusion gun.
Yeah, they have all the heavy weapons you could imagine.
Your opponent will be like, 3 melters from your deep striking 75-point, flying guys. When does that happen?
Yeah. Luckily, those melters are 12 inches, so you're not so worried about them deep striking into melter range.
Yeah, true.
But, I mean, if these guys are rapid ingressing and then moving up 12, then they're definitely in melter range. And then if they need to, they do have their 2 AP, 1 damage blades to finish off whatever's there before they duck off somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
No, I like these guys. I feel like they fill a role, and that role is done well.
Yep, Sky Reavers I warmed up to after I had a proper look at their data sheet. Karsef I cooled after thinking about their data sheet, and you've helped me see the vision around Starfangs. So yeah, I think it's a neat little Corsairs kit.
Yeah, I dig it.
All right, interlude time. Did you want to have any commentary on the 3 Xenos characters that also came out at the same time?
We got to talk about them.
The half-naked dwarf, the 2 mecha anime suits, or the Tyranid warrior with a whip? What a diverse mob.
Let's start with the Tyranid warrior.
So, worth noting, depending on where you're looking, the Tyranid warrior has been upgraded.
Yeah.
In a recent balance patch. Lash Whip is now extra attacks. It's cheaper and has keywords to allow it to go into the Bioform Onslaught detachment well enough. So it's a lot better than when it dropped, let's say.
Yeah, for sure. And that was definitely why I wanted to start with this guy.
Okay.
When he first came out, he was not very good, but he has since had some corrections that were needed, and now I think this guy is fine.
I didn't realize warriors were like 5 toughness, 3 wound models. I did not realize that. That's so good.
Warriors are really good.
So good.
And the fact that you can have them as a melee bruiser unit or a ranged unit is also very nice.
Sustain hits 1, 2.
Obviously, if you're running Lash Whip guy, you're probably running him with the melee blob.
True.
And he does give them access to a surge move, which is nice, but you do have to lose units, which is annoying. And then also the sustained hits, right? So you are turning those Tyranid warriors into a bit of a threat, but I don't know.
Oh, imagine sustained spiking with the venom cannons.
Yes, that is a thing, and is something to consider when you're looking at ranged. The ranged guys get a lot more out of the sustained hits, for sure. But like honestly, I don't know necessarily which one you want to run him with. Like he might be better with the ranged guys, but you might want to build them as hybrid units and making sure that they can still bruise if they need to.
Yeah, I don't know. I also don't really know. I'm not a huge Tyranid buff. We'd have to have our Tyranid friends weigh in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're good.
I think talking about the other ones will be a lot easier as we know a bit more. I think the more I look at the Tyranid warriors with ranged bioweapons, I think they're actually the better pick.
I think something to really consider as well is the Synapse faction ability as well. Because if a Tyranid is in Synapse, you get an extra pip of strength to the attack in melee, and Tyranid Prime serves as a Synapse creature.
Yes.
My default when list building Tyranids, when I feel like having a fun little, change of pace with list building, is actually Synaptic Nexus, because I like leaning into army rules. And the fact that you can give one of the Synaptic imperatives to pop 5-up invulnerable is also the same sort of ability that you will receive from like the Bioform Onslaught detachment is the 5-up invulnerable. So if you're afraid of a go turn for a round with Synaptic Nexus, you can even have that.
Yeah.
And then go to Slaughter is another Synapse ability, adding 1 to the hit roll. There's some stuff. I feel like Tyranids are deceptively synergistic.
Oh, for sure. And I don't even know if it's necessarily deceptive.
I think people just assume horde, right? They assume being flooded by big bugs, but then you start to be like, oh, well, Synaptic creature this, Synapse bonus that.
Yeah, I think the big thing is like when you're looking at their data sheets, they do have
blah, blah, blah.
Things that are more obviously good.
Winged primes, right?
But, I mean, this could be a push towards potentially running a few more warriors. If only the warriors also got an updated kit at the same time.
That was my big confusion point, was why didn't they?
Because that would be what we want. And we're not allowed to have what we want.
Whoops, my apologies, mate. All right, half-naked dwarf?
Oh, yeah, this guy.
What the heck?
We called it.
Am I over hyping this guy when I give him an A+?
This guy seems incredible. I'm not going to lie, I love this guy.
I can't find the fault. I even went back and looked at Chthonian Berserks. I was like, yeah, actually, they're not bad.
Well, what was our biggest gripe about Chthonian Berserks? They didn't have a leader.
No character.
There was no one to lead them.
I'm still a little miffed that he's only an epic and there's no
generic version,
like enhancement support, but gives sustain hits 1 to the Chthonians and heroic for 0.
Man, yep, it's so cool. I love this guy, and he hits like a truck. How do you feel about
I'm shook.
2 weapon skill, 10-2-4 profile with anti-monster, anti-vehicle 3. And on top of that, he's got extra attacks.
I feel really good about it. Yeah. And if he feels like plasma sweeping some infantry instead with sustain hits 1, like he might just kill a Sternguard squad by himself.
Accidentally.
Why not?
Just oops.
Accidentally. But the real question, how does he go into orcs?
Well, we already know the answer to that question. It's attached to his model.
I'm noticing very specifically his strength and his sweep is pipped a bit higher than a lot of orcs' toughness.
Yeah, this guy is designed to kill orcs. The fact that he has that breakpoint at 10 is so good.
It's pretty meaty. It's pretty meaty. I have no notes. He's he's very good. And he also got cheap in a recent balanced data slate. So if he's cheaper than 95, which is what I'm looking at, yikes.
Yikes is correct. No, I like this guy.
Sorry, Buri, you've been dethroned as the cool melee bruiser missile man.
Hey, I still think Bury's pretty cool. Sick model.
He is. He also got cheaper recently, I'm pretty sure, which was a concern of mine, was that he was a bit expensive. So,
yeah.
Yay!
And that leaves us with the best of the new data sheet.
Far out. It took me a good couple of minutes to understand what I was looking at, and then there was a moment where I
same.
was then thinking, oh,
clicked.
Oh dear.
Oh dear is right.
Tell us about him.
The Twin Lance is crazy, and this is easily an S tier unit.
They did get tamed a little bit in the recent balance.
I don't care.
They didn't get better. They got side graded, but they're still like insanely good.
What do you mean my melee weapons are guns?
And they're extra attacks too. So
yeah, no, these guys are insane. I think these guys are very good, and I love that the melee melter gun got the melter built in.
Oh, my hips are falling asleep, Johnny.
Like the fact that its damage is straight up just D6 plus 2 because you're in melter range if you're in melee. I really like that. No, these two are very, very cool, and I cannot wait to run them. There's not a lot bad to say.
So what you're saying is birthday present.
Oh, got one of them coming up in the next couple of months.
Oh.
No, I really like these guys. And
very fun.
160 points is cheaper than I was expecting.
I think they're closer to 200 now. Maybe like 185, 190.
I was going to say, we obviously haven't got quite the latest update, but man,
I'm pretty sure it's available on Warcom. Let me go double check.
Very, 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 very cool models.
While you hype them up.
They
have so much movement tech.
When we were watching the reveal for this, I was like, who the hell are they and how do I get to know them? Really, really liked it.
Tau, page 34.
Yeah, they're T's. They're all the way down the list with Thousand Sons.
They are 185 points now.
Still too cheap. Like, you're still running them every single time.
No change to the data sheets per the balance slate.
Just a points buff. Oh no,
just the points.
So that's fine. They needed it. The only real problem I do have is they fill such a role that this army needed, but they're the only ones in the entire army that fill this role, which does make them an auto include. And I'm not the biggest fan of auto included epic heroes in general, but I do like epic heroes that do something epic, and this is epic.
I see. Berekh used to be 110. He is now 95.
Oh.
And the Tyranid Prime of Lash Whip is 65 points. That's crazy. That's cracked.
65 points is pretty cracked.
But yeah, Twin Lance is also cracked. There's so much. I cannot get over the movement tech, really. It's a bit bust. Bit bust.
Yeah.
What does Montcar give them again? The detachment Montcar. What's the shtick? Is it lethals?
Montcar is the lethal hits. I'm 90% sure. I'll tell you 2 seconds. Yeah, lethal hits and assault.
Oh, yeah. And then first, second, third, they have assault. Yeah. That's also cracked. They have more movement tech in their home detachment. Yikes. Wow. Yeah. All right. Just, with the adjustments to the Prime with Lash Whip, I think these are all A tier includes, with the Twin Lance probably being S, new tier unlock.
Twin Lance is S. Like, you can't change my mind.
Nice. I'm amazed we didn't get a variation of Montcar when they came out, just to really like push them further.
Yeah, you're correct. We did.
Because if we jump into the new detachments that came out with the Maelstrom, somehow we got a Leagues of Votann detachment, but not a
Tau
Twin Lancey detachment, which seems to be something they would have done.
Yeah, well, can't have everything in Tau life, right?
Yeah. Shall we jump into some detachments now? Just a quick little, this is the theme gameplay of the detachment, what we find as pro, cons, staple units, and then our overall thought.
Yeah, sure.
I'll kick us off with some Votann, if you want to get your seat warmed for chaos over there, Johnny.
Oh, yeah.
So Leagues of Votann, we get Mercenary, Oathband, and you know how people call detachments like Gladius a multi-tool or a toolkit. There's just so much flexibility.
Yep.
This is that. You get that. So it simplifies the army rule that allows you to just spend 3 and toggle between the fortify and the hostile takeover. So there's less resource tracking when it comes to determining which part of your army rule you're currently in, taking over an objective or holding an objective. And so it's relatively simple. The detachment's very infantry focused. There's not a whole lot of vehicle support outside of transport re-embarking. Funnily enough, though, you could, with a stratagem, to fall back. It just says Leagues of Votann unit. I see a moment where you fall back a land fortress with Grand Artifice for a CP and then spend another CP to tank shock back into the melee.
Why not?
But there's a lot of infantry-focused kit. So many of the detachments focuses around rerolls and a little bit of movement tech, as I just mentioned. And so your infantry are going to get a lot of value. And there's not really any kind of component to the army that isn't benefited by the kit, which is really fantastic. If you have just a bunch of Leagues of Votann stuff, maybe not triple Capricus Defender mobile turrets, maybe not that one.
Maybe not.
But maybe not that one. But this is squarely like an A tier detachment to me. This has so much flexibility and just rewards you just playing, I guess you could say, just good stuff Votann. My favorite thing that I've seen with this attachment, though, is is it the Iron Master? Yeah. You give the Iron Master this very lengthy worded enhancement that I'm just calling Edakan. It gives the Saint hits. You plug him onto a Thunderkin unit with the conversion beamers, conversion giving the crits on 4, lethal and sustained conversion beamers on 4. How you going?
Nice.
With reroll stratagems. How you going?
Love it.
Yeah. So yeah, good stuff. Leagues of Votann. If I was playing Leagues of Votann today, I would probably just pick that one. To be honest, it's probably better than a lot of the other ones, but just a generalist approach. Yep.
Good. Very nice. My wife.
Good. My wife, the clone dwarven.
But no, this seems like a very straightforward, fun detachment.
Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan. It actually inspires me with Votann a bit more than I was before I read it. So there you go.
Nice. And what about our blue Corsairs?
Blue? Oh, you want me to go into blue Corsairs?
Yeah.
All right, let me just pull up the Corsairs real quick. Let me just pull them up.
Pull them up.
So there's 2 detachments that came out with this supplement, similar to Red Corsairs. We got one that benefits the epics, one that's a bit more generalist. The 2 we've got is Eldritch Raiders. Funnily enough, that's the exact name of Prince Ariel's detachment. We also have the Corsair, his in-law band of Corsairs. They're called the Eldritch Raiders. So we got Prince Ariel's own, it's literally the detachment rules, Ariel's own. So
it's his detachment.
It's his detachment. Basically allows advance and charge for Aeldari units as a whole. But if they are Corsairs or the Outcast, which again is Rangers and Rangers on bikes, aka Shroud Runners, you can reroll the advance roll. So you can lock in more movement tech, which is pretty good. And then the Veterans of the Void is a second detachment rule, which cracks open enhancements like never before, Johnny. You've read this yet?
I haven't read this yet.
All right.
I wanted to save it for you to be able to prove it to me.
This is going to blow your noggin. All right. So we've noticed something about Aeldari Corsairs, right? No generalist characters.
No generalist characters, correct.
Who cares? Veterans of the Void. Each time you add a Corsair unit, which in-game they're called Unwrath, much like how Craftworld is Aeldari, Dark Eldar Drukhari, yada yada. It can be given up to 1 Corsair enhancement. Each Corsair enhancement included in your army must be unique. If a unit is given a Corsair enhancement, you must increase the points by the amount shown.
Hey.
Staying within list building restrictions. Prince Ariel gets one.
Nice.
Infantry can have one. There's a Unwrath infantry unit. Doesn't specify character. You can give Void Guard if you want the ability to perform the fade back agile maneuver without spending a battle focus token. Or you could give an Unwrath unit melee weapons have lance as an enhancement. Prince Ariel gets one where each time you spend a battle focus token to do agile maneuvers, on a d6 roll of 3+, you gain one back. It's not the most exciting ones, unless you're looking at exotic munitions, which gives ranged weapons, anti-monster, anti-vehicle 5+, which, reserve deep striking Starfang, Johnny, with a 6/3/2.
Yeah, no, this seems like a fun detachment so far. It's giving me Catan vibes.
And yeah, a little bit. I'm really enjoying what is going on with these supplements and how they're starting to push the boundaries of these systems. We've seen it a little bit with like Chaos Knights, Lords of Dread had more enhancements to pick from, but Catan had costed benefits to make a Catan detachment better rather than lock them out of other lists by way of punishing the datasheet as a whole. So it's good. But this particular Eldritch Raiders detachment, it's super specific to Unwrath and the Rangers. However, it is worth noting that just Aeldari units can advance and charge. Funnily enough, this benefits Wraith constructs.
Oh.
Wraith Lords, Wraith Guard, Wraith Knights with Sword. They can advance and charge.
But why? Why do we need this?
Because the Wraith detachment sucks a little bit.
Because Wraiths in general suck a little bit.
I have seen, so if we look at Wraith Blades, for example, right? Wraith Blades, 5 models for 150 points. Again, this is like an old kit, so you can buy it for like $60 Aussie or something cheap as. You can give them Ghost Axe or Ghost Swords. Ghost Axe, for example, 3 attacks, hits on 4s, 7/2/2. If a Psych is nearby, +1 to the hit roll. They have on a 3+ fight on death. If a Spirit Seer is near them, they can bring models back. If they go with the Ghost Axe, they get a 4-up invulnerable force shield. So suddenly you've got all these like little movement tech Corsairs being supported by weirdly tough, which is what Wraiths are meant to do, is weirdly tough units that are all of a sudden over in your face, swinging at you with axes, and you can't kill them because they're T6 4-up with 3 wounds, and a Psych is like, come back to life again.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, no, I can see why you would be.
Otherwise, it's a lot of board tech. It's a lot of board tech, and that's the pros. There's a lot of like extra OC. There's a lot of adding damage to your Corsair Void Scarred. There's a Ruthless Killer strat to add 1 to the damage of your Void Scarred attack. So Iriel and his Void Scarred, what the fuck?
Why not?
So yeah, it's a lot of stuff that supports the Corsair game plan whilst actually enabling a little bit of melee pressure in ways you might not really expect. And I'm a big fan of Iriel, Void Scarred, Starfang, Ranger, Karsef. Everything I alluded to before is good right here.
I'm really glad and terrified all at the same time.
Yeah? Well, we just got to wait for old mate Zaki to build his Corsairs and figure out how they play.
Figure out how they play.
How do they play, Josh? What's their shtick? The movement phase. Oh, fuck.
That's too complicated. Hey, it'll be the opposite of his current army. Instead of going slow, he'll go fast.
Do you want me to give you the opposite side of the Corsair blue coin, or would you like a red Corsair coin detachment now?
No, let's finish up what you've got, and then we'll go talk about some chaos stuff.
Stick with blue?
Yeah.
All right. Corsair Coterie is the other Aeldari Corsair detachment, one of the 2.
This is the more genericus one, the not specifically Uriel one.
It's not specifically Iriel, which if you're playing Corsairs, why are you not? He has a cool hat. So the detachment rule of this detachment, Relentless Raiders, it's a fun one. It's booby trap your objectives. Whenever an enemy unit ends a normal advance fallback or even a charge within range of an objective marker, roll a d6 on a 2+, they suffer d3 mortal wounds.
It's not a small amount of mortal wounds or a hard roll to make.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have a bunch of OC stuff, which off the top of my head, I don't know what's the real OC element of Aeldari, but sticky objectives is going to make sticky bombed objectives will really make your opponent think twice.
Yeah. It's going to make you just sit behind the objective, right? At the very back of it, you just let them come.
Because Void Thieves also just gives you sticky. Everyone. A unit is just granted sticky objectives. All units. It doesn't specify out.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, Unwrath, I mean to say, like all the Corsair units. It doesn't matter if it's Starfangs.
All your Corsair.
It doesn't matter if it's Sky Reavers. Just anyone who's a Corsair is going to stick you an objective. You can react and move away, perhaps, and then someone's like got to bomb themselves to get on there. But they also have, again, the same enhancement thing where you just give it to your infantry and your epics instead. There's Unwrath Character, which could also be Karseth. 35 points, Arch Raider, Lord of Deceit. Unit within 12 of this model. Your opponent has the +1 to their CP rule. Okay.
Okay. Why not?
Do you want Karseth to be more oppressive to your opponent's game plan? Why not? There you go.
Man.
But yeah, there's Deep Strike, there's OC stuff, there's
Trixie stuff.
Which, funnily enough, the OC stuff would be pretty fun because that can stop your opponents from just immediately like flipping an objective. And so the more they are piling onto the objective, more bombs. Why not?
Why not?
And then the stratagem kit is a little more generous because there are a couple that targets just Aeldari, with the caveat that maybe if you're an Unwrath, it has a bit more fluff in the tank, but not all of them, just a couple. For example, Lethal Ruse, Movement Phase, Aeldari fallback. That Aeldari, you can declare a charge. But if you're an Unwrath and there's an enemy unit within engagement range at the start of the phase, you can grenade them on the way out.
I love grenades on the way out.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Call of Duty Martyrdom. That's the only thing I really remember from my time playing those games. And so anytime that comes up again, I'm like,
that's fun. Tricksy stuff is always fun.
But yeah, there's an amazing thing where Rangers can get rapid fire on weapons, boosting their AP by 1 of Outcast Ambush. So all of a sudden, you might very well have double the attacks of a Ranger unit, and now it's AP 3. I think it was that AP 1 or AP 2, but either way, it's better now. There's a little bit more generalist kit. You're playing a extremely cagey game, but with units that move faster than your opponent anyway. So it's like, do you want this objective? Great, there you go. Bomb. Anyway, I'm over here now. Come catch me. Oh, you caught me? I'm going to fall back, and here you go. Bomb. Oh, look, I fell back onto an objective. I've stuck it now. There's another bomb.
You get a bomb, and you get a bomb.
I really like the aerial detachment, don't get me wrong, but this is just, it feels more evil in a very subtle way, which I'm a big fan of, and you aren't as coerced into Corsairs. You could run Corsairs like a third to a half of your force, and then the rest is just Aeldari good stuff. Bring the Banshees, bring the Reapers, bring Azaman if you want. This is a little bit more generalist, and I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah, it's super cool. I think the Aeldari detachments are very neat. I like what they did.
I think Corsair Coterie has a little less power in the tank, but Aerial's detachment kind of relies on you being a full Corsair tilt, which if you are, that's like an A tier detachment. The Corsair, though, it's also just very good. Probably more of a B tier to me, but if you're a master of the movement and being a little tricksy and planning ahead, you could really trip people up, much like that Alpha Legion detachment we spoke about earlier.
Yeah, for sure.
You like them? You like the...
Yeah, I do. I think they're very cool.
Yeah?
I think
cool.
Aeldari have some very neat and tricksy stuff, and this is right up their alley.
I don't really want to go and buy more Aeldari units right now, but if I had less of them and I needed more, I'd probably just go and buy the Eldritch Raider box set, if I'm being honest. Like, the kit is great.
Will it fill out what you need, what you're missing?
It's not a whole lot of points, but you get all of the pieces to activate these detachments, so...
Yeah, no, I more meant the fact that, like, your Aeldari force isn't really where you would want to be if you were doing it. It's not the strong stuff, it's the stuff you have.
Hey Johnny, what if I told you that the Harlequin component of my force of Aeldari plus Eldrad and like a couple of other little like dudes is leaving me just enough space to fit the entire Eldritch Raiders box set in.
The entire Eldritch Raiders box set?
Yeah.
Man, that's the one problem I have with some of these boxes is there's just not enough points in them, right? Oh.
Yeah. I think the Harlequin's Combat Patrol, depending on how you build it, is more points than the Eldritch Raiders Battle Force, but hey.
It is what it is.
Whatever. Red Corsairs time, I suppose. What do we got? Take us away.
We have Huron's Marauders. Now, this is the Huron detachment. This is, what if Huron was like your big Primarch level epic hero? So his detachment rule is tyrannical motivations.
What if?
This is the one that gives you in your command phase, you select one of 3 abilities, similar to what you see in a lot of those Primarch level guys, except it affects everything. It's not an aura.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's just all the way around. And your 2 options that you have that you could just cycle through, or you could just keep one every turn if you wanted, is +1 to hit all around, or shoot and charge after falling back.
Pretty cooked. If everyone gets that.
Now your chosen are hitting on 2s.
Ah.
You know, that big blob we'll talk about sticking with Huron to really do some damage. How do you feel about not missing?
I'm looking at a couple of spicy enhancements here, Johnny.
Yeah, man. This has some very spicy enhancements, with most of them having that, you know, can't put them on damned units. Not that we realistically care, because this isn't a let's pattern with damned units game. This is, I want to kill shit, and kill shit with heretic space marines.
Well, maybe. I'm looking at a couple of damned key stuff through this little pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the one that can affect damned units is giving a Heretic Astartes model the Infiltrator's ability, meaning you could potentially stick it on your blob of a Cursed Cultist, if you wish, with ACDC. Or something else, like Infiltrator is still good. It also gives you the ability to give it to someone to lead your Raiders, which I do see there are potential plays, but it is 30 points for what you're essentially doing is giving your Raiders a leader. But it's fine. The other ones are that we have the Voice of the Tyrant, which gives you both the +1 to hits and the fallback shoot and charge every turn. Because why not? Could be very good on a Chaos Lord or something like that that's leading some Chosen and just absolutely mincemeat your opponent's backline. You have the charging from transports as a potential option, which is similar to what we get out of the basic Renegade detachment, that whole getting in and out of transports vibes. And you get a 6-inch deep strike. Sorry, it's a deep strike that
I am
battle shock, sorry. Wrong one.
That's okay. I'm noticing there's a lot, a chunky amount of movement tech stratagems. Every kind of movement tech I could think of is right in the strats because the detachment rule's doing all your buffs already.
And that's definitely what this is.
Wow.
This is the I need to get around and do stuff. They're really leaning into that red Corsair kind of vibe, but spreading it over your entire army if that's what you want. You've got things like advanced shoot and charge. You've got reactive moves. You've got auto advance. You've got uppy downies. All of the things that you're hoping to get out of pirates. And I think this is a really good detachment as a generic Space Marine detachment. So when you're not quite sure exactly what you want to do, the fact that the +1 to hit rolls is in shooting as well, but only affects your infantry. So you could definitely use it with, your big heavy weapons teams and stuff like that to get that +1 to hit and really guarantee your las cannons are getting in. Your legionaries that have, your las gun or whatever heavy weapon they've decided to take with them, just hitting that little bit more often. Your chosen become absolute powerhouses, and there's nothing stopping you from still running your Fabius Bile chosen block, but now it's +1 to toughness, +1 to strength, and +1 to hit.
I'm currently hung up on the give Trader Guardsmen lots of rapid fire shots.
Yep.
Strategy.
Oh yeah.
That's very cute.
It is, because Trader Guardsmen are part of the thing.
With old Henrik Folkbriar. That was a fun little lore part. Trader Guard also falling into the whole Red Corsair meat grinder conflicts. So it's nice to see a little bit of that. There's also a Red Corsair combat patrol limitedly available, which has Trader Guard in it. So that's cute.
Yeah.
Rapid fire plasma gun, bolt guns, not bad.
But this detachment seems like a good bit of fun.
I like when there's detachments that key off an epic hero, because a lot of people are playing for that Hero Hammer aesthetic anyway, and especially Chaos Marines and Space Marines and Aeldari. There's so many detachments already. Give something a little specific, and that's good. It's good fun.
For sure.
Now, I assume the next one is a similar to the Corsair Coterie of being a little bit more generalist.
Yeah, about as generalist as Space Marine.
Oh, yeah. A little bit Gladius-y.
Yeah, they took away our Chaos Gods and focused on the Renegade part. This is almost us being compliant Space Marines at this point. So the Renegade Warband's detachment is Slaves to None, which the first line of text is straight up, we lose Dark Pacts, which makes me cry a little, because Dark Pacts is so much fun, but it does make sense that we're not caring what the gods say and do. We're going to do our own thing, and we're going to have an absolute blast doing it. And to show that, we gained access to the Assault keyword on all of our Heretic Astartes models, not just infantry. Everyone gets Assault. Love it. They did have to add in a line of text after it was released that prevents us from using the Cults of the Damned God rules, because people were doing some silly things with Noise Marines and a few others, because losing Dark Pacts meant that suddenly the big downside of taking the Cults was minimized. But that's fine. They want us to play with our non-cult related Marines. On top of that, we get Vendetta, which is very similar to Oath of Moment. You pick a unit in your command phase, and you get reroll hit rolls against that unit. And then we also get Twisted Doctrine, because there's a lot going on in this detachment. So in your movement phase, each time you set up or select a Heretic Astartes unit from your army, it can choose to default to Doctrine, and if it does, it must first take a Battle Shock test, and then select one of the following. So it's kind of like Dark Pacts without the Dark Pacts. You either get Fallback, Shoot, and Charge, or you get Advance and Charge. So what you can see is we're getting in fast, and we're getting into combat, real bloody.
Yeah, it's a little spooky, actually.
Yeah, I have played this detachment, and it is a hell of a lot of fun.
How's it feel to play Space Marines, but bad?
As I call it, it's the spiky Space Marine detachment.
Yeah.
But it is actually a lot of fun. Not so much for the Vendetta even, but mainly just because you have so much going on in terms of like movement and getting around the board and doing what you want to do as a Chaos Space Marine. That it's kind of like a little bit of everything that you love to do. You get kind of Dark Pacts, but instead of it being damage focused, it's movement focused. You get the ability to get lethal hits or sustained hits still in the form of a stratagem called Never Outgun. You get sticky objectives. You can do reactive moves. You've got +1 to wound on your Vendetta target for when you really want to be an Ultramarine.
Yeah, gee, where have I heard that rule before?
Like, it's just a very straightforward, I'm playing Space Marines, but spiky.
Well, gee, it's the turncoats that aren't particularly perverted into chaos as a whole. They're not really demons and demon engines. That's the word I'm looking for. They're just the Space Marines that have gone, no, thank you, Imperium. And I'm seeing that in the rules.
Right? They took all the teachings that they learned from being a Space Marine and they decided to send them on over somewhere else. But it really shows that like side of Huron as well, where he was a compliant Space Marine until they assumed he wasn't. And then he was like, well, I'll just take everything I've learned and throw it back in your face.
Yeah, definitely glossed over that part in the lore because he didn't go out very nicely. It took a few years of him getting progressively worse. He definitely could have stopped at any time.
Oh, yeah. It's always a case of that, right? It's how far did I really go before it was too far?
Yeah, but it's a very fun detachment as someone who has not played Chaos Space Marines. If I were to decide, well, I'm going to try Chaos Space Marines, this is a really good breaking in detachment, I suppose.
Yeah, if you've already...
It's got all the stuff you know.
If you've already been a Space Marine player, this is your chance to try something a little spicier.
And with a little bit of finagling, you could probably proxy the majority of a Space Marine force as Chaos equivalent. You would really need to do something to make it obvious who's who, maybe like a marker or something like some notes. I don't know, but you could do it. It's kind of just the same stuff with spikes, right?
I was going to say, they do have everything we have, right? Like, you've got dedicated melee units. You could run your veteran guard, your veteran soldiers, or your blade guard veteran. That's the word I'm looking for, as chosen. You could run your assault intercessors as raptors and stuff like that. Like, definitely can quite easily make it work if you want to give it a try.
Or I just scrolled too far down. I'm looking at the next episode detachments. Scroll back up.
Yeah, right. Don't go spoiling anything yet. But
can I say one thing?
Yeah, go.
About the next lot. I was so excited for Space Marine Ceramite Sentinels to be Terminator focused. No, they did soft launch 11th edition objective play and gave the Terminator detachment to fucking chaos.
Hey. When we get to it, I'm really interested in this detachment. It might be enough to make me actually play my Terminators at last.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I really like the detachment. It's a really good detachment. It's a really wonderful detachment. I like all the Terminator support. Tabletop Tactics did a battle report where they were featuring and it was really good. But I also really like Terminators with the Space Marine variety, and I'm really sad that they're not great.
They're not great. Terminators in general aren't fantastic.
Anywho, Any other thoughts about Renegade Warband and Huron's Marauders?
It's good and it's fun.
Nice. A tiers, B tiers, S tiers, C tiers?
I would give Huron's Marauders a B tier. Like, it does seem really strong, but, I mean, a lot of what we are already doing is. And I would probably give Renegade an A tier. I can definitely see this getting that competitive focus, that competitive look.
Well, it is, right? It is doing so?
Yes and no.
Oh.
Chaos Space Marines actually have quite a few detachments that are making like good showings. We're a pretty well balanced internally army as a whole. So there's not a lot to complain about in terms of detachments. I think there's like 4 or 5 detachments that are regularly getting up there in tournaments.
Okay. All right. Nice.
It is. It is very nice.
Very nice.
Is that all the detachments, or is there one more?
No, there's one more, Johnny.
Yeah, I was like, is that 5 we've done?
That's 5. You know what the last one is, Johnny?
Go on.
You wouldn't believe it. It's it's a freebooter crew.
Freebooters.
It's the freebooters, Johnny.
Who are they?
It's the freebooters. Well, once upon a time.
Man, when was the last time they had a supplement?
First edition maybe. Probably had some stuff in the meantime, but once upon a time.
Yeah.
Back when the game was more fun. Nah, I'm just messing. Freebooter Krew. I like this one a lot as a person who likes shooting gameplay. Why am I not a Thousand Suns player? Well, look at Johnny. Freebooter Krew is a wonderful bunch of flavor that I think is, a little upsetting that we don't have new Flash Gits or freebooters in particular, even though Flash Gits are. Anyway.
Because they're coming next edition, Josh.
I believe that, very much so, along with Captain Badruck, whose guns are full of radiation. Anyway, Freebooter Krew, detachment rule, here be loot. At the start of your command phase, select an objective marker, just one objective marker. Until the start of your next one, it is the loot objective. Until the, start of your next command phase, we get to choose another one. Ork infantry, mounted, and walker get sustained hits 1 if either or both are true. The unit is within range of your loot, or the attack is targeting a unit within range of your loot, which is good, gives both sides of the coin, and it's going to temper the sustain hits 1 nonsense that used to be sustain hits 2 from Mordaka. It's kind of like Mordaka again, I suppose, but it's not full shooting.
It definitely feels like that. They took Mordaka and they were like, how can we fix the problem?
But it's not like full guns. It's not a bad moons detachment, which is what Mordaka was trying to be, which was lots of guns. Freebooter is still very much around the sort of trickier objective play that freebooters want. It's not necessarily tricky. It's not Blood Axe. But it does have some good stuff. If we were to look at the enhancements, there are things such as Git Spotter Swig, which gives the unit ignore cover. We have Razgit's Magic Map, which allows you to, Johnny, redeploy 3.
Because everyone needs to get it somewhere.
There's a funny enhancement called Dark Captain. War boss only, though, so, once per battle round at the start of any phase, you can select a friendly Orc unit that is battle shocked, and within 12, they suffer D3 mortal wounds, but they're no longer battle shocked.
I love that.
The kit around them is pretty fun, though. You have a bit of everything to sort of make them stand out on their own, I feel. It's probably not going to overtake competitively some of the greats, such as Warhorde, if that's the one that I'm trying to think of. Nonetheless, there's even a fighting phase stratagem where if you're within range of the loot objective, you get to reroll the wound roll, noting that you have to be targeting an enemy unit within range of a loot objective, but it means that if you're wanting to fight instead of shoot, you still get something, I suppose. One of my favorite stratagems I've ever bloody come across is something I've been thinking about in the back of my head as a really good idea for a detachment rule, is deck fraggers. In a shooting phase, an Orc unit that has not been selected to shoot gains blast on their weapon.
I had a feeling you were going to mention this.
I thought to myself, because in my notes I like to sort of come up with custom ideas for things, particularly around all the various like Space Marine chapters we come across and all the various media and lore. And I'm thinking there's heaps of like infantry, Xenos killers, I'm like, well, gonna need a lot of guns for that. What if the detachment rules blast? Well, deck fraggers gives it to you in a stratagem, which is really fun.
It is very, very fun.
Grab and bash, grab and bash. You can select a unit within range of the loot. They're full of the booty. They got War on, which is funny because you can have already called the War, but the loot is driving them into a shopping frenzy.
A shopping frenzy?
Yeah. There's Board and Rush movement. You can advance automatically 6 onto the movement, so you're not really advancing, you're just moving more, which is good if your unit doesn't have advance, or you want to guarantee 6 inches, which not all of us can. Rolling loot heap is probably my second favorite stratagem of the bunch because you can target flash gits, and if they are shooting, which they're gonna be, they have anti-vehicle 4, and so you have like the sustain hits 1 thing going on, flash gits, they're targeting something to get anti-vehicle 4. They already have sustain hits 1, so weirdly enough, your flash gits aren't even necessary for the detachment rule because they already have it. But you can put them onto other objectives, sure, and then focus other things like lootars, which are heavier weapons, or tank busters, which are really heavier weapons.
Yeah, they are.
Into those objectives. But flash gits, if they're shooting the closest thing, they'll have 4 attacks instead of 3. If you want, you can ammo run the lethal hits, but if you're fighting with an anti-keyword, don't worry yet. So 612, it's not 1 AP, probably not going to like kill too many vehicles. But
hey,
like there's some
saturation of fire.
There's some kits in the caboodle. Yeah, there's kits and abilities in this kit, and I think if you have, for whatever reason, built up a Freebooter Krew, you will enjoy it. But like flash kits do not have battle line. There's not a Freebooter captain or anything like that. And so it feels like a missed opportunity. They gave a whole page of lore to Admiral Sunsmasher and Death Skulls and Freebooters in the Maelstrom book. In the 500 worlds, they are constantly like, there's Ork pirate kingdoms, which makes me think they're setting up for something. Maybe whenever Steel Legion comes out, they'll need someone to go against, and it might be Freebooters, but
hey, who knows?
I can't help but feel this is like right now, like a B tier, thinking about the game ecosystem, maybe more to a C tier, actually, because there's not a whole lot of support for Freebooter. But yeah, what do you think, Jonny?
I really like this detachment. I think it could be a good bit of fun, but it does require you to really build around the detachment. But I really like the idea of being like, that objective, I'm going for that one. That one there, that's mine. Stay off it.
Yeah, funnily enough, I think looters get more from the Freebooter Krew than the flash kits do, because the looters get to do a full reroll of the hits if they're targeting someone within range of an objective.
Yep.
And so you're giving a couple of your looters heavy weapons like custom mega blasters with 3 attacks, hits on 5s, 9 to D6. But that's our loot. So they get to full reroll, and then you get to get sustain hits 1, and maybe you have either like deck fraggers if you're doing like big shooter, or the rolling loot heap to kill the tanks with your better AP. And suddenly there's things around those lines, but yeah, I don't know. It feels like a little missed opportunity.
It definitely does. Yeah, it just needs a little bit more help. But I think they're just so nervous to push the shooty orcs too far, right? Because
Mordaka
was a dark time.
But it's nice that they gave it a little bit of love. It's nice they gave it a little bit of love. I'm still a Snake Bites fan. You haven't convinced me yet into the Freebooter ways. But yeah, that's pretty much all the Maelstrom era additions. Anything else you want to go over, Mr. Man?
Nah, I think that's about it for today. Hey.
Good. A nice sort of meaty harkening back to our Coterie episodes. If you've enjoyed this breakdown of the rules and such, feel free to reach out on our Discord link in the bio to let us know that you liked it. Share it with your mates. Leave a good review on the socials, things like Spotify, Apple. Give it a little ping. That'd be much appreciated.
Appreciate it if you can.
Yeah, come hang out on the cords, Discords. Tell us what lists you've been coming up with. If you've been coming up with some lists, we're excited. We love lists.
We sure do. But no, definitely come say hi, do the things in the places with the stuff, and we'll see you at the next one, eh?
Hit the link, write the comments, do the like and the share.
Do the like and the share.
Do the like and the share and read the book, actually. Stasia's Ruin. But yeah. We'll be probably back in a couple of weeks with another data drop for Eye of Terror stuff, Johnny. Iron Warriors, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we just got to wait for our stuff to show up, you know?
Yeah, well, would be nice.
It would be nice.
Cool. Thanks, Johnny. Thanks, listeners.
Thank you all. Goodbye.
Goodbye.